Earth were creatures who existed in varying levels of splendor. Some had hair the color of wheat in the sunshine. Others had hair as black as the fabric of the night sky. They had different features and mannerisms, all depending on what corner of the earth they came from and how they were influenced by their lives. Our first story, alien listeners and lurkers, comes from the Dahomey tribe of Western Africa. The title of our story is The Market of the Dead. There were two co-wives. The first wife gave birth to twins, but herself died in childbirth. So the second wife took care of them. The elder twin was called Hwese, the other Hwevi. When the stepmother pounded grain, she took away the flour on top and gave them what was not fit to eat. One day, the stepmother gave each of them a small gourd and told them to go for water. They went to the stream, but on the way back, Hwese slipped and broke his gourd. The other said, "If we go home now, she will beat Hwese and let me go free, so I'll break mine too." He threw it down and broke it. When the stepmother saw what had happened, she got a whip and whipped them. Hwevi said, "I am going to buy a bead." Hwese said, "Yes, let us each buy a bead for Ku. We will go there and visit the one who watches death's door. Perhaps he will let us see our mother." The grave is deep, deep, deep. Stepmother bought some gourds, but Hwese broke his gourd, and Hwevi broke his too. When we told our stepmother, she flogged us with a whip. So Hwese bought a bead, and Hwevi bought one too. So they went to see the guardian of death's door. He asked them, "What do you want?" Hwese said, "Yesterday, when we went to get water, my brother Hwese broke his gourd, so I broke mine too. Our stepmother beat us and did not give us anything to eat all day. So we have come to beg you to let us enter here. We want to see our mother." When the guardian heard this, he opened the door. The grave is deep, deep, deep. Stepmother bought some gourds, but Hwese broke his gourd, and Hwevi broke his gourd too. When we told our stepmother, she flogged us with a whip. So Hwese bought a bead, and Hwevi bought one too. We gave those to the door's guardian, and the door opened. Inside, there were two markets, the market of the living and the market of the dead. Everybody asked them, "Where do you come from? Where do you come from?" The living asked this, and the dead asked it too. The children said, "This is what happened. Yesterday we broke the little gourds our stepmother gave us. She beat us and gave us nothing to eat. We begged the man who watches at the door to let us come in to see our mother, so she might buy the two gourds for us. Then their mother came, and she bought some akasa in the market of the living for them. Then she turned her back and gave money to a living man to buy the two gourds in the market of the living for them, and gave these to her children. Then she herself went to the market of the dead and bought palm nuts to send to her husband's other wife, for she knew that the other one liked these nuts very much. Now, once the woman ate the palm nuts, she would surely die. Then the mother said to the children, "All right, go home now and tell your stepmother good day. Thank her for looking after you so well. The grave is deep, deep, deep." The stepmother bought some gourds, but Hwese broke his gourd, and Hwevi broke his too. When we told our stepmother, she flogged us with a whip. So Hwese bought a bead, and Hwevi bought one too. We gave these to the door's guardian, and the door opened. Our mother, hearing our story, bought us two gourds for our stepmother. The stepmother looked for the two boys. She looked for them everywhere, but she could not find out where they had gone. When they came back, she asked them, "Where were you?" They said, "We went to see our mother." But their stepmother scolded them. She said, "No, you lie. Nobody can visit the dead." The children gave her the palm nuts. They said, "Here, our mother sent these to you." The other woman laughed at them. "So you found a dead one to send me palm nuts?" But when the stepmother ate these palm nuts, she died. The grave is deep, deep, deep. Stepmother bought some gourds, but Huese broke his gourd, and Huevi broke his too. When we told our stepmother, she flogged us with a whip. So Huese bought a bead, and Huevi bought one too. We gave these to the door's guardian, and the door opened. Our mother, hearing our story, bought us 2 gourds for our stepmother. At home, our stepmother wanted to buy life, but we gave her the fruit in abundance, abundance. In Dahomey, in Western Africa, when a person dies, the family goes to a diviner, and he makes the dead talk so that you hear his voice. So when they called, the dead stepmother said, "Tell all the other women that my death came from the orphans. Tell them also that Mau says that when there are several wives and one dies and leaves children, the others must care for the children of the dead women. This is why, if a man has 2 wives and one dies, leaving a child, you give that child to the second wife. And the second wife must look after the dead woman's children better than her own children. And this is why one never mistreats orphans. You are not even sick. I know that myself. I am an orphan. My father never lets me go out alone at night. Whenever I ask for something, he gives it to me. And that is our story. And now, the first song of our little production comes from Wei's Blood. It is titled Andromeda. Enjoy, listeners and lurkers.
Andromeda's a big wide open galaxy. Nothing in it for me except my heart that's lazy. Running for my own life now. I'm really turning some time. Looking up to the sky for something I may never find. Stop calling. It's time to let me be. If you think you can save me, I dare you to
Welcome back, listeners and lurkers, to A Galaxy Away. Our second story comes from England and is titled Mr. Fox. Enjoy. Lady Mary was young and Lady Mary was fair. She had 2 brothers and more lovers than she could count. But of them all, the bravest and most gallant was Mr. Fox, whom she met when she was down at her father's country house. No one knew who Mr. Fox was, but he was certainly brave and surely rich, and of all her lovers, Lady Mary cared for him alone. At last, it was agreed upon between them that they should be married. Lady Mary asked Mr. Fox where they should live, and he described to her his castle and where it was, but strange to say, did not ask her or her brothers to come and see it. So one day, near the wedding day, when her brothers were out and Mr. Fox was away for a day or 2 on business, as he said, Lady Mary set out for Mr. Fox's castle, and after many searching, she came to it at last. and a fine strong house it was, with high walls and a deep moat. And when she came up to the gateway, she saw written on it, Be bold, be bold. But as the gate was open, she went through it and found no one there. So she went up to the doorway, and over it she found written, Be bold, but not too bold. Still she went on till she came into the hall, and went up the broad stair till she came to a door in the gallery, over which was written, Be bold, but not too bold, lest that your heart's blood should run cold. But Lady Mary was a brave one. She was, and when she opened the door, and what do you think she saw? Why, bodies and skeletons of beautiful young ladies, all stained with blood. So Lady Mary thought it was high time to get out of that horrid place, and she closed the door, went through the gallery, and was just going down the stairs and out the hall, when who should she see through the window but Mr. Fox, dragging a beautiful young lady along from the gateway to the door. Lady Mary rushed downstairs and hid herself behind a cask, just in time, as Mr. Fox came in with the poor young lady, who seemed to have fainted. Just as he got near Lady Mary, Mr. Fox saw a diamond ring glittering on the finger of the young lady he was dragging, and he tried to pull it off, but it was tightly fixed and would not come off. So Mr. Fox cursed and swore, and drew his sword, raised it, and brought it down upon the hand of the poor lady. The sword cut off the hand, which jumped up into the air, and fell of all places in the world into Lady Mary's lap. Mr. Fox looked about a bit, but did not think of looking behind the cask. So at last he went on dragging the young lady up the stair into the bloody chamber. As soon as she heard him pass through the gallery, Lady Mary crept out of the door, down the gateway, and ran home as fast as she could. Now it happened that the very next day, the marriage contract of Lady Mary and Mr. Fox was to be signed, and there was a splendid breakfast before that. And when Mr. Fox was seated at the table opposite Lady Mary, he looked at her. "How pale you are this morning, my dear." "Yes," said she, "I had a bad night's rest last night. I had horrible dreams." "Dreams go by contrary," said Mr. Fox. "But tell us your dream, and your sweet voice will make the time pass till the happy hour comes." "I dreamed," said Lady Mary, "that I went yestermorn to your castle, and I found it in the woods with high walls and a deep moat, and over the gateway was written, 'Be bold.' But it is not so, nor it was not so," said Mr. Fox. "And when I came to the doorway, over it was written, 'Be bold, but not too bold.' It is not so, nor it was not so," said Mr. Fox. "And then when I went upstairs and came to a gallery, at the end of which was a door, on which was written, 'Be bold, but not too bold, lest that your heart's blood should run cold.' It is not so, nor it was not so," said Mr. Fox. And then I opened the door, and the room was filled with bodies and skeletons of poor dead women, all stained with their blood. It is not so, nor it was not so, and God forbid it should be so," said Mr. Fox. "Then I dreamed I rushed down the gallery, and just as I was going down the stairs, I saw you, Mr. Fox, coming up the hall, dragging after you a poor young lady, rich and beautiful. It is not so, nor it was not so, and God forbid it should be so," said Mr. Fox. "I rushed downstairs just in time to hide myself behind the cask when you, Mr. Fox, came in dragging the young lady by the arm, and as you passed me, Mr. Fox, I thought I saw you try and get off her diamond ring, and when you could not, Mr. Fox, it seemed to me in my dream that you, out with your sword, and hacked off the poor lady's hand to get the ring. It is not so, nor it was not so, and God forbid it should be so," said Mr. Fox, and was going to say something else as he rose from his seat, when Lady Mary cried out, "But it is so, and it was so. Here's hand and ring I have to show," and pulled out that lady's hand from her dress and pointed it straight at Mr. Fox. At once her brothers and her friend drew their swords and cut Mr. Fox into 1,000 pieces.